Hi everybody, I hope everybody had a great day today. My project is a box that measures 4 3/4 by 3 1/2 by 1, and it opens with some Velcro dots for the closure, and inside I have a whole bunch of summertime candy. I tried to get a lot of stuff like old-fashioned candies like from when I was little, but they really don't have too much. I mean, the taffy is good. Fun Dip was from when I was little. I don't know about High Chews, but this is what I could find. So that's what I put in there. Now, let me see. No, it's just not wide enough for a pad. So we have 2 Fun Dips, some High Chews, and some taffy, which is a pretty good box. It's just a nice box of, there used to be a little candy store by my uncle, where my uncle lived right on the beach. And there used to be a little candy store. Remember the little cones that weren't really cones? They were like sugar, little things that look like cones, but that's what I used to get at the candy store. All right, so I'm using the Beach Day bundle and the Radiating Stitches dies, and this is the second largest one. Okay, this is my host code. Please put that in for any purchases under $150, not including your shipping and tax. And if you can't purchase from me, my website is listed below. Please subscribe and hit the like button. That really helps me out without purchasing anything from Stampin' Up. All right, so we need some basic white. We need a piece of Granny Apple Green cardstock that is 11 by 8 1/4. So you're just taking 1/4 inch off the short side. And on this one, I think I used Granny Old Olive, but I'm going to switch it up to Granny Apple Green this time. I cut out several of the die pieces from Beach Day. I did the stand and the ramp from Balmy Blue. The life preserver is Daffodil Delight, and the flag is Peach Pie. Okay, so those are all the pieces I cut out. We need this little strip of basic white to do the sentiment. Now this rectangle is about 4 by 2 5/8. Okay, and I'm using the Full of Life Designer Series paper. So we need 2 pieces that are 4 1/2 by 3 1/4. 2 pieces that are 4 1/2 by 1 3/4. And then for the sides, 4 1/2 by 3/4 and 3 1/4 by 3/4. Okay, so that's all the pieces we need. All right, so let me get my Simply Scored. All right, we're going to start on the 11-inch side and score at 2, 3, 6 1/2, and 7 1/2. Turn it to the 8 1/4 inch side and score at 3/4, 1 3/4, 6 1/2, and 7 1/2. All right, now fold and burnish your score lines. Okay, and how we're going to do this is the 2-inch strip is on this side, and on this side is the 3 1/2 inch strip, and there is a 3/4 inch strip at the top and a 3/4 inch strip at the bottom. We're going to start over here, and we're going to go to the first score line, cut it to the second score line, and then take off these 2 pieces here. Okay, go to the next score line and cut it to the second score line. Take off the rectangle and wedge the square. Okay, go to the next 2 score lines and cut them to the second score line. Take off the rectangle and wedge that square. Okay, now we're going to take these two pieces off. Okay, and that's one side. Now flip it over, and the 2-inch piece is over here. And we're going to go to the first score line, cut it to the second score line, and take off those two rectangles. Go to the next score line, cut it to the second score line, take off the rectangle, and wedge the square. Okay, go to the next two score lines and cut it to the second score line. Take off the rectangle and wedge the square. Okay, now take these two rectangles off. Okay, now what we have to do is these 3/4 inch strips on the top and bottom, I'm going to wedge a piece off of those. Okay, and that's what your cardstock should look like when you're done scoring and cutting. Okay, I'm going to get Stampin' Seal Plus, and I'm going to put 2 strips on each one of these tabs. You could use liquid glue also if you wanted instead, or tear and tape, but this is fast. I'm just rolling back all of the edges of glue that went over. Okay, and we're going to start over here on this side with the 2-inch flap. And we're going to take the score line on the tab and match it up with this inner rectangle on both sides. And then we're going to match the next to the same rectangle, just the other side. All right, and that is your box. It's kind of like envelope. Kind of, I guess it would be more like an envelope if it was like that. Okay, so now we need our DSPs. These 2 pieces are going to go on the back, front and back of this flap. Well, this way but it looks pretty good that side, doesn't it? And then the smaller pieces go on the smaller flap, like that. And then the long sides and the short sides. And I'm going to put them all on with liquid glue. Okie doke. Well, let's let that dry. Then we'll do some stamping. I'm only using Balmy Blue Ink. And I'm using the Sentiment Enjoy Today, which I will be fussy cutting into 2 pieces. And that's it for the stamping on this one. I used mostly the dies. So we need this rectangle I cut with the Radiating Stitches dies. And all our little pieces. And I'm going to use my silicone mat. All right. So let's start with, first let's put this together. And I'm just going to put a little bit of glue on the top of these pieces here, and then put the lifeguard shack top right on top of those. And then the railing, I'm going to put going right off like that. So I need a little bit of glue on this last post. I put the little knobbies up. Just put it far enough back so that it doesn't show in the window, but enough to grip it. Okay, and then I'm going to put this little lifeguard ring, put it this way, right on the like it's hanging on the lifeguard shack. When we went about 10 years ago. We brought the kids to Las Vegas, which is really quite a great place for kids to go. There's so much to see. We're not much gamblers, so it was a beautiful hotel. I think right after the Welcome to Vegas sign. So it wasn't officially on the strip, but it was there, and it was pretty cheap, and it had 3 bedrooms, a full kitchen. It was gorgeous. And we drove to California one day, which I don't suggest to do it in one day because it was long. But we went to, I think it was Will Rogers State Park, and they had all lifeguard shacks like this that were blue. So that's what it reminded me of, and I loved it. The kids had a ball swimming. They were younger then, so it was so nice. And they went to Pawn Stars and all that kind of stuff, aquariums. There's so much to do there for little ones too. All right, now I'm going to put some glue on the back of this whole thing. And we're going to put it down right like this. You could put dimensionals, but it's pretty hard with this fence. Okay. And then while it's still a little bit wet, I'm going to sneak the piece of the flag right behind the fence post and put the flag down. And I'm going to put this piece of grass, which I actually cut from old olive cardstock, but if you want, you can use the Granny Apple Green. They're pretty close. The old olive's just a little darker, so you won't really notice that. All right, is everything on there? Yes. Okay, we're going to take some linen thread now, and I'm going to use dimensionals again so I don't have to use any tape under here. All right, and I'm going to get some dimensionals, and I'm going to place one. I'm going to do four times around with my glue, with my linen thread. So I'm going to go 1 and then 2, and then I want them to look straight on here. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, so let me just get them all nice and straight with each other. So this one has to go right there, and we'll cut it. So just make sure you're putting it wherever this rectangle will cover it. All right. And I'm going to put one here, one there, and then I'm going to put them in the corners here. All right, and then we're going to put this the right way up and center it right like that. So they're relatively straight, so it looks like roping on there. Yeah, and the back looks nice too. Okay. Okay, now we need some Velcro dots. These are 3/8 inch. Let me start with this one. And I'm going to put one on each end, or it tends to kind of stick up if I just put one on each side, one in the middle. So I'm going to put one on each side, especially since the candy's a little bit heavy. And then the pair on top. All right, make sure everything's nice and straight. Okay, you want to really push it down. Okay, and that's our closure. Okay, so now we need our sentiment, and I'm going to just do this nice and straight. And I'm not going to leave too much extra next to it, and that's fine. There you go. And then I'm just going to cut them right in half. And I'm going to glue them right over here. Enjoy on the top and today below. Okay. And then for the final touch, I'm going to get some rainbow dots, and we'll use the Balmy Blue. And I'm going to put a big one right here. Oops, nothing in there yet. And another big one next to the sentiment. And then my last small one I'll put over here. And that's it. Now everybody, I hope everybody enjoys the summer weekend up. We're going to have great weather here for Father's Day. We're going to have be with some family, and I hope you guys all enjoy. And I will see you next week. Bye.